Hey mamas, how are y'all doing? I've been wanting to give an update on how our homeschool adventure is going, what's working, what's not. I might do like a monthly update. I don't know, we'll see. And I think I landed on providing, like just doing it on video and posting videos, which is a little nerve-wracking and scary for me. But my motto for 2020 has become do the thing. Like no more excuses, just do the thing that you want to do that's knocking at your heart, and just go for it. So that is what we're doing. So here we go. So it is, oh gosh, what month? September. We started homeschooling. So if you don't know, my husband and I have two daughters. The oldest is 4.5 and the youngest is 1. And we started homeschooling Esther, our oldest, a little over 2 months ago. Like, yes, because of COVID, but also no, not just because of COVID. We, like, long term knew that homeschool or some sort of alternative school was the route we wanted to go with our kids. And then because of everything, just the uncertainty of what the school year would look like and not wanting to put her in a situation where she would have to be pulled out or school would get closed, we just decided to start this year. And we actually started in like the middle of summer because we were excited about it. Our curriculum came in. And I'm really glad that we did that and that we didn't wait, just because we were able to kind of just test it out and see how things went. So what has been working so far? The first thing that is working really, really well is our curriculum. And that is master books. This is their science, one of their science curriculums. So we decided on master books, and we are doing their kindergarten level curriculum. Technically, Esther is in preschool, but we found, I went through, they give a preview of all of the books. And when I looked at just her, like where she was at and what the curriculum had to offer, the kindergarten seemed to match up the most with her skill set. And it's been really, really good. I did a lot of deep diving before and went back and forth between a few options. And I'm so glad we ended up with master books. One, they are a Christian-based curriculum, and not just like faith Christian-based, but unapologetic, like backbone and belief. And it's been really refreshing I almost feel like I have a partner when it comes to I have an ally when it comes to raising up my daughter. And scripture and the Bible is in everything in the curriculum. And so it's just been really refreshing for me as a parent to know that I have this as a toolkit. It is also, if you've dug into master books or if you've like listened to other, in other groups, it's considered gentle, and some parents consider it easy because the lessons are very short. They're very bite-sized, and they tend to, when you're looking at like the public school system, they tend to be like a grade lower. And so that's all intentional. They have a bunch of great content out there. You can dig into like why, their philosophy for why they go easier, rather than trying to cram everything into your child, like all in one sitting. And so because of that, Esther and I have been having fun. It is super doable. We're both gaining confidence. It's just been really good. It's been really good. We've been loving it. I'm really glad we ended up on it. I'll probably, if you're interested, I'll probably do an even bigger deep dive over master books, and give a sneak peek of what we're learning. I did do a video that is, I think it's in my highlights, of when we had just received our books, and you can I do a flip through. So that has been working amazingly. Another thing that is working really well is ABC See Hear Do. This I heard about from a mom on Instagram that they were introducing phonics to their child. So the kindergarten curriculum for Master Books is just the basis of it is letter recognition and handwriting, like practicing your letters. Phonics isn't introduced until like the very end, which is great and fine. Excuse me. But Esther had already started working on letter sounds last year in preschool. So I didn't want to lose anything. I wanted to just kind of keep it on pace a little bit. So we started incorporating this really simply into her lessons. And basically what it is that it gives you a letter, and each letter has a little mascot that makes a motion and a sound. So the letter B is a bear who's playing the drums, and the drums make a b, b, b sound. So each letter has a motion that you do that makes the sound. And it has been so good. So good. Like she grasps the concepts and remembers the sounds really easily. Like all I have to do is the motion. So C is a cat that claws. So all I have to do is this, and she knows it's the k, k sound. So this has been like, we just super simply introduce the sound. And so when we practice writing the letter or going over a capital and lowercase letter, we also do the sound and the motion. So that's been working really well. It could just be that she's ready, like the concept of matching a letter with a sound is an easier concept for her now, but she's able to remember it and get it very quickly with that. So that's going well. Coffee break. The other thing that's been working well is we started listening to audiobooks during lunch. And this just kind of happened basically out of necessity because she wasn't sitting down and eating her lunch. She was just running around. And so we have a membership to Scribed, and it's like a $10 audiobook membership that's been like so good and I think the best one out there. So I put on an audiobook for her one day during lunch so that she would sit down and eat. And it was just a little picture book. They have a ton, all the new books. They have all of it. And she loved it. And so I think we went through like 4 or 5 little kid books in that one sitting for lunch. And it was really fun. Like it was fun to see her like listen, and you could almost see her picturing what was happening. Side note, I did learn with Scribed. So it's $10 a month. They say it's unlimited audiobooks and even just digital books. And it is technically, but there's a certain threshold where if you basically go through too many books, too many like mainstream, new, best-selling books, they basically take things, like they take the hot topics and the good books away until your next billing cycle. And from what I have found, it is because they pay royalties for every book that you read. Like they pay royalties out to the author. And so it's like you became too expensive for them. So they're going to take all the good ones away until your next billing cycle. I don't know what that like threshold is. They don't tell you. But I will say I was listening to several books myself, like 2 or 3 books. And then we went through at least like 10 kid picture books. And then all of a sudden, like they weren't an option anymore. So, fix for that was that we found a chapter book that was age appropriate. So we started doing the Little House on the Prairie series. And we listen to it every day, or I say every day. We listen to it as best we can during lunch, and she loves it. She asks all the time to listen to the book during dinner or breakfast. So it's been a really, like, it was an unintentional thing that happened. That's been really helpful. And if you have, dove into kind of homeschooling conversations and communities and stuff out there, a read aloud is a thing that a lot of parents do, a lot of families do, and it's just reading aloud books to your kids, but it's typically chapter books that are age appropriate. So you all listen to the kids listen to their parent reading a book. And I love that concept. I love it. And maybe we'll get there one day, but the idea of like doing lessons, being on my A game for lessons with her, being on my A game for clients and business, and then also like reading chapter books while I have a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old, like playing around. And I don't like my voice that much. So this has been a really good kind of workaround for that, which is just getting an audiobook and listening to it instead of Esther listening to me yet again reading something to her or explaining something to her. So that has been fun. I really suggest it. It's just been it still feels like she's learning and she's growing in her like listening skills and imagination, and I just get to sit back, which is nice. Okay, so those are all things that have been working really well. Here are some things that haven't been working. And really, the first thing, like everything has been, the things that aren't working is because of this first thing. And that is just our inconsistent schedule. It is definitely a plus. And one of the benefits of homeschooling is that you don't have to be on a traditional schedule. You don't have to be 8 to 3 or whatever the school day is. We get through master books in 20 to 30 minutes, and that's for like language, math, and science. So that's a plus, is that you can be really flexible with your schedule. It doesn't have to take a ton of time. But when you pair that with, we have our own business, not every day looks the same as far as our workload, as far as meetings, as far as just our life in general. Not every day is the same. We are not home all the time for the same time. Like we might be gone in the morning one day, or we just don't have a consistent schedule day to day. And then you throw in the things that are out of our control. We had to evacuate for Hurricane Laura. We have business trips planned. When you kind of compile all of that, it's been a little bit of a crapshoot when it comes to our schedule. And it hasn't been too bad because we're still doing lessons. But what I am finding is that I'm doing the bare minimum with Esther. So like I said, we tend to get through her lessons in 20 to 30 minutes. And so what tends to happen is that sometime throughout the day, I'll see a 20 to 30 minute window and we'll do lessons. So today, for example, she's at the gym with Joshua. They might be pulling up any minute, so I need to hurry. And she could either come back and be super ready to do lessons. Emery's napping, great time, let's go. Or she gets back, she needs some time to just chill out and decompress. I'll let her watch a show. And then we may do lessons, squeeze lessons in a little bit later during Emery's nap time, or we may do it later today. I don't know. And that's fine for some people. It's even okay for us. every now and then, but I'm just finding that I'm doing the bare minimum. There are things that I want to incorporate that I'm not incorporating. Master Books is very open and go. There's not a lot of prep needed, but there are on occasion, get these things together so that she can play this game, or do this so you can have this ready for this activity. And there are times when I just I'm looking at it for the first time with her. And so there have been times I'm just like, okay, well, we'll do that later. And I feel like I'm just cheating her out of things that are fun. Even just sitting down and reading books together, or playing games like Candyland. I always mess it up. Anyways, when it comes to things like that, like our schedule we've been really inconsistent. And because of that, I just feel like we are missing out on some fun things that we can do. So a couple of those things. So that's the biggest thing of just what's not working. What also is not working because of that inconsistent schedule, and just me not really preparing enough, or getting the things together enough, having a plan, which if you know me, I love having plans, is working on scripture memory. So that's another thing that's not working. The curriculum has a weekly Bible verse to memorize, and it relates to whatever we're talking about, and there are hand motions with it. And it's super helpful, but we never memorize it. Basically, we never memorize it. We go over it. We say it every day, every other day, and this is going into this is going into more personal, not just school. But I am just feeling the very real weight, and I don't mean weight in a bad way, just the very real weight of, it is my job to raise my girls up in the way that they should go. It is my job to prepare them. And the number one thing, more than the ABCs, more than knowing shapes and math, more than any of that, they need to know who God is, how He is for them, they need to know His word, and all of that means that they can then see themselves the way that God sees them. That is my number one job. I'm about to preach. I'm going to try not to. And I have just been feeling that weight, and feeling like my priorities are a little bit out of whack when it comes to what we focus on, and how we I focus on ABCs more than I focus on teaching her the word. And so again, okay, back to the point of this video. All of that being said, just doing the foundation work of knowing and memorizing scripture is the beginning of all of that for me. And so that's something that's not going well, because I'm not putting in the effort to make sure that that's a priority in our lesson time. The other thing that's not going well, kind of along the same terms, is we just haven't put in the time, is her calendar work. And I realize that sounds really almost silly compared to knowing the scripture and God. But it's just a piece of the curriculum that we haven't been incorporating. Again, it's mostly because I haven't gotten the things together to really have a good plan on a good calendar for her to play with and all that stuff. So all of that is based around our inconsistent schedule. If we need to make a more consistent schedule, and I need to put more time with her so that we have more playroom to do the things that we want to do the things, let her explore more. So yeah, so that's something that we definitely are going to be working on this coming month. So that's what I got. I hope that was, I don't know, helpful. If anything, just know that if you're still figuring it out, I'm figuring it out with you. And um, I like seeing real people share their story and share their journey and talk about what they're learning. And so I think that's just what I'm going to start doing here. However you're seeing this, probably going to put it on IGTV and then also on YouTube and just see how that goes. But okay, I hope you guys have a great day. If there's anything you want me to dive deeper in or something that's working really well for you, like if you have a great schedule and you can help a mama out, like help me out. All right. You guys have a great day. We'll see you later.